Boeing shares this morning are getting hit pretty hard in the pre-market. The FAA grounding scores of 737 MAX 9 planes after a piece of the aircraft blew out during an Alaska Airlines flight on Friday. Phil LeBeau joins us with more on this. Phil, a lot of questions.
Oh, definitely, Becky. And I don't think we're going to have answers. I would be surprised if we have answers today. Maybe we'll get some more answers in terms of exactly what happened and a move towards a solution in the next couple of days. But if that happens, I think people are going to say, wow, Boeing is getting off relatively quickly in terms of a major scare for the airline or for the company as well as for the airlines that fly the MAX 9. We've seen the video. Everybody has seen the video that came out over the weekend from inside the Alaska Airlines plane. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Here's the focus of the investigation. The fuselage plug, which is essentially where an emergency door would be, it's been plugged as part of the manufacturing process. There were pressurization problems with this particular aircraft 3 times before this incident. The NTSB describes them, at least initially, as being benign issues. But did that have play a role in what ultimately happened in the air? And the grounding duration is unclear. The seats next to the aircraft or near the plug that was stripped off the plane, they were empty. Thank goodness, because this could have been much worse. And this happened early in the flight. Here's the NTSB talking about just how lucky everybody was that this was not a worse accident.
The aircraft was around 16,000 feet and only 10 minutes out from the airport when the door blew. Fortunately, they were not at cruise altitude of 30,000 or 35,000 feet. Think about what happens when you're in cruise. Everybody's up and walking. Folks don't have seatbelts on. They're going to restrooms. The flight attendants are providing service to passengers. We could have ended up with something so much more tragic.
Very, very fortunate. Here's what's going on with the grounding. Now, there are 218 MAX 9s that have been delivered, but only 171 are grounded. Those are the ones that have the fuselage plug. The remainder are not grounded. United has 79 planes that are grounded. Alaska has 65. 6 other foreign airlines have the remaining 74. And this is a relatively new aircraft in question with Alaska Airlines. So it was only delivered on November 30th. So what happened, or October 31st, I should say, what happened between then and this incident over the weekend? That will be at the heart of the investigation as the NTSB looks not only at the aircraft that is back at the airport in Portland, but also the fuselage plug, which has been recovered. It fell into a backyard in suburban Portland. They now have that. They'll look at that. They'll look at the cockpit voice recorder as well as the flight data recorder. They'll try to get a better sense of exactly what happened with this incident, and does it portend or indicate that there might be a broader issue with other 737 MAX 9s. As you take a look at shares of Boeing, the important thing for a lot of investors this morning, separate from this investigation, is whether or not this has legs. Will this mean that Boeing has to slow down plans for ramping up MAX production, which they are in the process of doing between now and the end of 2026? There is a big schedule increase that is planned for MAX production, including the MAX 9. Also take a look at shares of Spirit Aerosystems. Seems like we talk about Spirit every 6 or 7 weeks. There's another issue. The stock is getting hammered today. Spirit makes the fuselage for the MAX. It made the MAX plug in question that is at the heart of this investigation. We've reached out to Spirit, by the way. They have a new CEO there, Pat Shanahan, who was a longtime Boeing executive, served in the Trump administration briefly, guys. We have not heard back from Spirit at this point that Mr. Shanahan will be talking anytime soon, but he's got his hands full in terms of correcting a lot of the problems that are at Spirit. And again, we don't know if Spirit is directly the cause of what happened with this accident for Alaska Airlines, but certainly a lot of questions for investors today. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, I mean, Phil, the video is so graphic, it's hard not to put yourself in the position of the passengers
Sure.
who were on that plane, and I think that's the instant reaction everybody had. Imagine even driving into work with your windows down and then think about what these passengers went through. But when you look at the stock implications, the Spirit Aerosystems, as you bring it up, that used to be a unit of Boeing, right? The idea that it was spun off at one point?
Yep.
A lot of questions, I would assume, about that, too.
Yeah, it's been separate. It's been its own company since 2005, and it has diversified its product portfolio. When it was spun off initially from Boeing, almost all of its business, as you would imagine, was for Boeing. This is where the fuselages are built. They're built in Wichita, Kansas. They have diversified. They also do fuselages for Airbus as well. But, Becky, we have talked, I think it was like 8 weeks ago. I'd have to go back and look exactly when. There were a couple of incidents involving holes that were improperly drilled that required inspections. We've had other issues with Spirit Aerosystems. This is at the heart of a lot of questions people have, not just for Spirit, but for Boeing as well, in terms of quality control. What's going on? And this has been a focus for Dave Calhoun, the CEO. He has talked about it at length. He will hold an employee town hall tomorrow in Renton, Washington, where the MAX is built. And he'll be there along with Stan Deal, who's the head of Boeing Commercial Airplanes. Stephanie Pope, who's the new COO, is expected to be there. There will be board members there. Boeing is front and center right now for a lot of people saying, what is going on? Explain to us whether or not you have your arms wrapped around the quality control issues there. That's going to be a major question for Calhoun and the leadership team at Boeing, not just today or the next couple of days, but over the next several weeks.